There we go.
Yay.
Got it. So please, Bruna, present yourself.
All right, so I will try to say something I don't usually say, right? Because I have already talked about me in so many ways here. Well, I love having breakfast. I think this is one of my favorite meals because I feel I have some time for myself. This morning I had an amazing breakfast. Like my mom, last night she made bolo de milho. I know it's sweet, but I think in some other countries it's not. So this morning started really, really happy, like with eggs and corn cake and coffee. And I'm really happy. My day started well. Today I have so many things to do, but I'm okay. How about you?
Just before I started, do you have I was thinking about a question here. Do you
Yeah.
have any idea or any story in your family about indigenous people close to you, like some you are somehow descendant of, or you
I
never?
I don't think so. No. And you?
Yes.
You doing?
Yeah. Very. Very. My
Do you have
grandma.
any stories like?
Yeah, it's always horrible stories. Like they were um taken. They were taken as, like, I don't know how to say, like, what's that? I don't know how to say that in English. They were taken in and brought to some place to get married with a white guy or a black guy.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so being a white person and being someone who doesn't read about it that often, and I'm being honest here. We just learn about indigenous people at school, and then we follow our lives and we don't know what's happening. If you don't go for it and if you don't search it, like we don't know where they are, like. And it's something that the last time I had access to, like, someone in person was in college there at Unifesp. That is like a clinic for indigenous people, and they are like treated there. So they come from like small cities to São Paulo to be treated here. And this is the last contact I had with them, like some years ago. And there is a lot of misconcept, like we don't know anything, which is really bad. So
Yeah, as you said, we learn at school some things, but it's kind of the way they, I don't know, but in your school time, how was it? But in my time was like a kind of folklore, like
yeah.
so, and there was, I don't think it is celebrated anymore. The Indians Day, that's in 19th April 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a kind of folklore or seen as people who don't exist anymore. Just think it's
Yeah.
very, it's like,
Yes, and if we know about them, we don't know how they live. Like we don't know, like, that they have access to internet, that they have normal lives, that they, like, it's just we don't understand how they live, and it's like comfortable live this way, right? And then I think last year or in 2020 I started like reading more and following, like, or even earlier, but I started like following other indigenous people, and then understanding a little bit more about it and their reality. It's good, to be informed. It's the basics, right? Yeah.
yeah, so that's the first question. What is important to talk about indigenous peoples?
Why?
Yeah, why it is important.
Oh, I think we have a lot to learn from them. I think it is important, first of all, because they are like preserving nature, and this is something like the ones who live in big cities are not worried about. We are just worried about ourselves, our jobs, and our lives. They can like teach us a lot about living in communities too, which is definitely something we don't do, like really selfish. And what else? Well, about nature, about also other processes they have. I don't know. How can I explain it? Process of cultivating stuff, and that we don't. Well, we live in this like system where we are just like looking for money and our work and like focus in ourselves, and I feel they see like things from different perspective. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's why some of the reasons.
Yeah,
What do
for
you think?
me, yeah, for me it is important because they exist. Pretty much
Yeah.
like everyone, every like us, they have a life. It's and it doesn't depend on the way they live. They live. We depend on them more they on us, but because they exist, it's not just history. They are not yet terminated, and they everywhere, not only in Brazil, but like in
Yeah.
Australia, for example, the Aboriginal people. I was watching your video. Don't remember now. They are fighting against because there is the Australian Day, something like that. The day the invaders discovered Australia, and they celebrate the white people, the Australians, they celebrate this day, but the Aboriginal people, they are fighting to change the day for like because it's a very sad day for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the day they were invaded, they were massacred. I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
what exists.
It's like
And
Thanksgiving,
yeah,
the US.
and it's everywhere like this. Everywhere
Yeah.
it's like this. Here the same thing. So since I don't know, more than 500 years ago, indigenous people in Brazil, they are fighting for their lives, and
Yeah.
that's they never stopped fighting, and they are pretty tough people. And
Yeah.
that's why I think it is important they because they are is I think in many places, as I said, not only in Brazil, we see like they are not part of the society, the Brazilian society, Australian society, the American, the North American society. They are like I don't know how to explain, but
I feel
they are not
good.
the Brazilian people, you know. They are not
Yeah.
the so that's why I think it is important. Treat they as they are people. So
Yeah,
that's it.
I feel it. I feel it. So there are a lot of, I don't know how to explain it, because it's how I feel too, that they are not like within us, like, because like we usually don't see them, or
Why we don't see them? That's a question we have to make
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Now we have some change, like
So we
because we
don't
have
see them for real, or we are not paying attention. I think this is a good point too.
for the first time in the Brazilian history, you have a minister. Indigenous minister, and we have some camera woman. So it's not much, but it's something.
It's something.
It's like late, but we are beginning something new. You know, we are starting something
really
new.
Nice. Yeah.
So I think we are seeing more, and that makes us aware they are there for this amount of time, and fighting for their lives, fighting for, because we have a lot of representation, like groups, representative groups like LGBTQA plus and AI. Jesus, I'm still not very good at it.
Yeah.
So Black people, but still, so we are aware of these things because they are fighting as well. But indigenous peoples, they are hidden in Brazil, yet they are hidden. So we have to see and to be aware and feel they like not folklore or some history or something. Oh, they are not treat indigenous people as children, because the other thing we do. So
yes, like they there are a lot of concepts like, oh, they don't know how to talk, they don't have access to technology, they don't know how to live in a city. Like there are a lot of concepts that are that we don't know because we don't look at them, just like you were saying, you know.
And the other thing, that's the second question: how can cultural stereotypes affect indigenous people? A lot. That's what I'm saying. Like they don't know how to deal with technology. Who said that?
Yes.
They don't know how to speak which language, because there's this thing. I remember people mocking indigenous peoples. They say mim fazer.
Yes.
Like, this is a cultural stereotype.
There's a joke like, oh, why are you talking like an indigenous people, an indigenous person? Like
Indians, we call them Indians.
Yes, that's true.
So the first and the second question for me is quite the same. It is important not for just for them. I'm not doing something, I'm talking about them. It is important because they will be, I don't know, staying in the society. But for me, to be aware why I think about them as I think, why this, where this comes from.
Definitely.
So
yeah, like I was thinking here because why do we think like it's really crazy, because why do we think they don't have access to internet? Why do we think, like you said something about the language too, like there are how many 400 different languages, if I'm not mistaken, like here in Brazil. So like how crazy and how wrong we are. And yeah, really tough. Go ahead.
yeah, even use the outfits, the way they used to they wear as costumes. So
yes,
it's quite a fantasy. In indigenous people's idea, it's quite a fantasy in many places. In Brazil, it's very strong. This is very strong. Like, it is getting away, going away. Sorry.
Yeah.
Slowly, very slow.
Yeah, and it's it's fun because not fun. It's interesting to see that now that that like Lula and the minister, they went to the areas where the Yanomami people were, and when they saw like how the things were there, and to see that they were talking about it for a long time. Of course, the previous government, they were not worried about it, but at least for me, like this is something I didn't see happening, because I wasn't informed. So I feel that is also the basics for us to feel interested and to go there and read about it. So we just, at least for me, we just feel interested and we just look for this information when it's already on TV, when it's already like people dying, like people suffering a lot, and then like we go there and, oh, this is happening, so let me now read about it, when it's already happening like for a long period of time. This
Yeah.
is complex.
Yeah, I just realized many things I in my life I had experienced that during all my life I had experienced double racism be- for being black, and of course people mistaking. I'm not indigenous because I didn't I wasn't born in community, indigenous community, but you can see her face. I have some. um, I'm I'm a descendant.
Mhm.
Sometimes people would say, "Ah, you are not black, you're Indian," but it wasn't a good thing. Or like, ah, my family, they do this. They like the nature. They are Indians. They, when my parents used to take us to the waterfalls in my area. There are many waterfalls there in
Mhm.
Minas, and of course, as kids, we used to swim naked. And so look at the Indians there.
No way, really?
Yeah, many times. Or um, good thing you have this hair because angels. If you, I'm saying angels because I'm
Uh-huh.
repeating
I
there.
got it. Uh-huh.
Uh, because if not, you would be like tough hair or something like that as black people. And I started to realize this just recently, because for me it was a quite compliment. Like, it's better being like part of something as a fantasy, as a folklore, than something people really hate uh, as black people. So
I haven't
it,
thought about it. It's real, yeah.
it is, but at the same time I think they are quite exterminating. So many people, they are in Brazil, we are in this limb, like between being black and being indigenous, or from the indigenous descendants.
Hmm.
So,
Definitely.
and it
Yeah.
is so there's the stereotypes, like oh, it's your indian indian blood, that's why you're lazy. I'm not lazy sometimes, but it's not because it's like they have a, because there's a story in Brazil. There's this common sense that they couldn't make indigenous people being slaves in Brazil because they are too lazy. But that's very not true. They were, they
I
were.
didn't I I didn't hear this story, thankfully. But
Yeah.
it's
Have
yeah.
you ever heard about like the thickness of the ankles, people ankles? Like, if you have a thick ankle, you are lazy. If you have a thin ankle, you are. So they used to choose black people and indigenous peoples as
According to the
from the ankle thickness. So my mom used to say, your your sister is lazier than you because her ankle thick and yours is thin. So it's something.
how crazy. No, I didn't.
I just realized this very recently. So like,
yeah. How crazy. Yeah, no, I didn't know about it. And yeah, as I said, I'm really misinformed, uninformed. How can I say this? Disinformed.
Yeah, I think,
Uninformed. Yeah. My family is like, yeah, uninformed, basically.
no, even who are descendant, it's something we never know. Like you say, okay, my grandma was, something like it's not close.
Like you don't have the details, right? It's just like, oh, too much.
And you don't have any attachment to
Yeah.
so like I have no attachment. I haven't any. I'm not attached to. Now I'm being aware why I have the surname I have. I am from where I am. I am, and this kind of things. And but I think
yeah. I was trying to think of the stereotypes, like besides the one we have already talked about, like about the language and the internet. I don't know. I feel that you said something about they are seen as too naive. I feel that like that they don't understand the dangers of the world, because they are not from here, So I feel this is also a stereotype I have already seen, which is terrible to think they are naive, because just because they didn't. Yeah, you said something really that is like making me think a lot. We just see that we don't see them as part of our society. This is really, I'm thinking a lot about that.
and not just us, the government.
Yeah,
like they have the government was the tutors of indigenous peoples for a long time. They still are. Like what where you can live, how you can live your life. There's many things.
Yeah.
I watched a film a year ago, I think. It's about indigenous people from Bolivia. The name is Before the Rain. It's about a filmmaker. Not filmmaker. It's about a movie being made there during the they call this the water war, because it was a protest, many demonstrations because lack of water for everyone. And one of the things that you said that they are seeing it as naive. One guy saying, yeah, they were hiring indigenous people to be in the film, to act in the film. And the guy was talking in English and say, okay, we can pay them $1 a day and they will be very happy. And there was an indigenous guy there looking just and when the guy said and he was on the phone, the other guy, and he says this kind of thing, no, they don't care, we just pay like $1 a day and they'll be fine, they will be really happy. And in the end, the indigenous guy, he spoke English very well. And I was like, So
Like he got everything.
he got everything. He was like, you know, it was really, really nice scene to watch. Like oh, you know, the
So,
surprise.
what is
Really
the name
good.
of that? Before the Rain?
Before the rain or antes de la lluvia.
Okay. Oh, I
Yeah.
will write down. All right.
It's
Sure.
with you know, the Gael Garcia Bernal, the actor.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he is in the film.
Awesome.
It's a
Amazing.
really it's about some not superstitions, but the how can I say this? It's not superstitions, but the myths. Not myths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some folklore myths and about the rain, and they are the film being made, and the lack of the water because some company was taking the water away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's a real story. If you look for um water war in Bolivia, you'll find this, like
Advantage.
many things on internet.
Okay.
Okay. um
I'm writing down.
you were talking in the beginning the role of the indigenous people in resource conservation. What is, in your opinion, their role in this?
Um, well, I might say things wrong, so I will just think of what the concepts I think I have. Um, they well, I feel that since they live around nature, they just know how to take care of it. They just were born and learned how to preserve it. And I don't know how to explain this, but um, yeah, I think they just learned how to take care of it and how to see it as something valuable. Because it's like, oh, okay, nice. I know nature is important, but when I'm living my life, I'm not that worried about it, about the preservation. I'm focused on my life, and it's tough to think. Like when I feel that we don't stop to think of the importance of nature, and how it impacts our lives. I remember, I don't know if it was in 2019, there were a lot of deforestation in many places here in Brazil, in many forests, and then everybody just started being worried about it because in big cities like São Paulo and Rio, the sky was dark, and then people started getting worried just because of it. But they like people from the northeast and like from the north of the country, like there are like usually near these areas, near forests, they were experiencing it for a while, and like people and the news just started talking about it when it got to big cities. So I think this is really complex, how we don't think a lot, how we don't worry about nature. And go ahead.
Yeah. I was talking to my friend the other day, talking with her, and I don't know why went up in this concept, like we under the capitalism live our life wrongly. I think we work, use, and we are detached from the nature and from art, and we escape sometimes for our useful life. Someone or someone's or the system are using our lives. We work, and then we take a break, go to a park, and then you take a break, go to listen to music, or we distract ourselves from the useful life.
And
know?
it's, yeah, go ahead.
And when I think about the role of the indigenous people in conservation, the nature conservation, I think the way they live, they don't work and stop, and now I can be lazy or rest and have some art, or have some break to rest to come back to work, or I have to be close to the nature. They are the nature.
Yeah.
There's no this sections. I see maybe there is, and I'm saying a lot of bullshit here, but I think it was, as I see from outside, they are the nature. They don't destroy their own lives like we do.
Yeah.
They don't need to be productive as we think we do. So that's why their lives it's a main reason of the planet. It's not collapsed yet. So that's what I think.
Yeah, and you said something nice. No, like we are so focused on this capitalist system that we just think of nature when we are on vacation. No, so I'm finally going to the beach. I'm finally going to a farm, and we don't experience nature itself. The way it is. Like I saw a girl. She went to Curitiba last week. And she was there, and like, she went to a park, and she was like, there was a terrible experience. There were a lot of mosquitoes here. I feel that the way I deal with insects, it's terrible. I hate when I see a fly and I see a mosquito. And it's something simple. Like it's something that it shouldn't be like, such a problem. So every time we need to experience nature is to it's like for leisure, and it's like, I will like use this place for a while, but it needs to be the way I want, like not the way nature wants. Of course there will be mosquitoes and flies and other insects there, because it's what like nature is. Or I don't like the sand because I don't like the texture. That's what nature is, like we want to experience it, but not that much. I don't want to get dirty on the how can I say terra? I forgot this word.
You can say earth.
In the earth, yeah, like I don't want to get dirty, so
Muddy.
Yeah. So no, it's really, really weird.
Yeah. And when we are experiencing the nature, there's this something mystical thing about the nature. Like I was one of my biggest nightmares, like camping. Really don't like it. And I saw a commercial like camping for adults, and then there's like people singing around the fireplace, I don't, and some, I don't know, something hippie, and this is things from white people. So we have this European wide concept of how we have to experience the nature when we are not consuming it. So from my point of view, indigenous peoples, they are just living the way everybody should. Like we don't need this amount of clothes. Of course, if indigenous people from cold places, they have clothes.
Mhm.
Of course, we are not made for the cold,
Mhm.
but just enough, just enough.
Mhm.
It's like we are taking things from the planet and collecting. Sometimes I feel like I'm collecting things, and for what, you know? And I don't see indigenous people collecting things. They make a lot of things. They leave it, but not to have it, the things, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the main reason they are conserving the nature, and the
Yeah.
natural resource.
I'm
But
thinking a lot.
yeah, it is it's it's quite sad
And I
when
just
you
want to
think
add something. No, I just want to add something because it's interesting to see how there is just you and me here, you know? Like, where's everybody? Why do people don't want to talk about it, you know? This is worrying too. Like, is it the subject? Like, I'm
it
I'm
can be
thinking,
many reasons. It can be something like I don't know anything about it, but I myself don't know anything about it.
me neither.
I'm just
Yes.
giving my opinion, and be open to be wrong, you know.
Yeah.
Like I am,
Yeah.
I have, we shouldn't have to study the things if like if we're talking about people in cities, we don't need to really study things to know and to talk about. But about indigenous people is something that's my biggest concern. Like they are really far from our lives. Like we don't see them. That's the biggest problem. So that's why I want to talk about it, not because I know
Yeah.
many things. I know nothing. I know nothing, but I want to.
That's
I want to know.
that's the point. No, you want to. That's good. Me too. I want to know more about it, and I think it is important to like keep talking about that, you know, because
And I
go
like
ahead.
subjects that I don't know anything yet.
I love
Because
it.
things I already know, I don't need to learn. That's what I think. I'm a person who likes to save time. Like if I know something already, why am talking about I want, so I am attracted to people who know things I don't know. So things completely, not because some people feel they are dumb when they are talking. No, I feel like I have an opportunity
to
here
learn
to
more.
learn it. Yeah.
Learn.
So
It's true.
that's so I pay attention, and like so something, but some people don't feel comfortable with, and
Yeah,
I understand. I
I
do
understand.
understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
But even in English, like it's hard to talk about something you don't know.
Yeah. It's like
Not
this.
even in English, more than another
That
language, more than your own language.
these days I ran away from and those meetings because the subjects were so hard, you know, and I didn't know how to talk about them, so I just didn't go. So yes, it's late for you.
Um. Okay, let's see. In
All right.
what ways did colonialism impact indigenous livelihoods? And they know all of them, I think.
All the way.
All the ways.
I feel that you are being threatened all the time. Your existence is being threatened all the time. And I don't know, like, because it's like we were saying that they are not heard, right? They are like fighting for their life for so long. And I think the way it impacts mostly is because they are not heard, they are not seen, and colonialists, they they are usually, they have more power, you know. And then if your life is like being threatened, you like the indigenous people won't be hurt if they are killed or if they are threatened. The colonialists will always have bigger power, they will always be more powerful, and it's like they will always be right according to society, you know, to everybody. Like, for example, there are a lot of statues and of colonialists around the world, you know. And like, even nowadays, or like even back then when they were already like killing people, why did society decided to raise these statues, you know? So I feel that all their existence is like threatened, and this is the biggest impact, you know. You won't be heard, you might be killed, you might be harassed, and like, okay, you know. And it's okay because who really worries are the colonialists. So this is, but at the same time, you said something that we know about it, but at the same time we look at them as like something mystic, as like they are important a few times in a year or just once, you know. I don't know, it's hard.
You know something I was thinking, all this conversation we you are talking about like day. So I'm looking forward to seeing a day we will talk us, you know, day. So that's that's my main goal, like us. They. That's the thing. That's a feeling. They, not us.
Do you mean the indigenous people? Like when we are going to talk about indigenous people as like a part of us too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, because I don't know if you agree or like what do you think about it. But yeah, they are part of our society, right?
Yeah. And if I see them as guardians, you know, of the nature and everything. Not like a mystical thing, but like they are just because they exist, they are guarding and preserving the nature, and that's why we are alive, pretty much.
Yes.
So us, when it's the same have as now I have more this feeling, and I'm more aware of being Latin American. Brazil, it's say the Latin American Brazilians. So, and this is from, because we don't speak the same language, but it's not just because because we can understand each other. We can. I know Spanish is not the same as Portuguese, but we are Latin Americans. So Brazil was always being how can I say, being apart, like from being Latin American. And now I can feel more I am, and that's why indigenous people are being more interesting for me. And because when you see when you start talk about or learn from people, learn from other countries like Colombia, Latin countries, you see the how many things we have in common. This is very similar. We are very similar people, but Brazil has this thing. Like we are Brazil, don't speak your language. We don't learn. They don't teach us Spanish. We should.
Yeah, and the way we see them as I feel that a lot of presidents mock of like Bolivians and like Venezuela people from Venezuela. I don't know how to say this word in English, but Chilean, all of these like people from these other countries, these other countries, mainly in South America. I see that here in São Paulo, there is a lot of xenophobia, that they are trying to invade our state, and that, oh, São Paulo is crowded, it's full of oh my God, let's find this word here. São Paulo,
Venezuelans? I don't know.
Venezuelan. Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce this horrible. See?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's tough to think we think we are special, that, oh, Brazil, we don't, they are invading our country. Come on, like.
Yeah, I saw one people say from the Latin America point of view, Brazil is an imperialist country. I've
Yes.
never thought about it. So like we are dictating what happened in Latin America and feeling like we are superior. And we are not. We are not. No.
And yes, and I have already talked to my parents about it, because they have some speeches like this, and I say, Mom or Dad, like, your family is not from here, from São Paulo. Like, my grandma is from another state, and my, like, both of my grandmas are not from São Paulo, so why are you saying these bullshit, it's really, really hard.
Yeah, and the same thing with the indigenous peoples.
Yeah.
Same. Like, oh, now you have Indians everywhere. Now they want rights. They want to keep the lands they never bought it.
Oh my God, yeah.
But from who? Like who was the first owner? From God? I don't know.
But it's still far from me, I still don't see it that often. I know, because of the places I go to. True, of course, I feel that this influences you, the places I go. Yeah, I am at. And
yeah, the other thing I was, when I started to teach English 3 years ago, I started to teach Black people, and I asked my friend, I was my family and like 1 or 2 Black friends, and I was questioning myself why I don't have Black friends. Why my friends, and I asked my friends, if you know anyone, a Black woman or Black person who wants to learn English, tell me. Nobody knew any Black person.
yeah.
Or so that's my thing. I don't know any indigenous person, like, in person. I don't have any friend. I don't like. I don't want to go to the place to invade the like a white person, please accept me. I am a good person. I don't like this.
Yes, and there are a lot of experiences, like, you go to their place to, like, experience a day, and then you take photos, and it's like, oh, such a special moment I had. No.
At the same time, I have experienced all my life from my parents' and family religion indigenous things like ayahuasca or the medicine from the forest, indigenous medicine, you know. But I personally I've never seen one indigenous person ever.
Yes.
So it's some appropriation. I don't know if that's right to say, like, oh, this is indigenous medicine, but are you indigenous? This is medicine from the forest. Like, I know my family don't like to hear this, but I don't think people who are not indigenous should use ayahuasca for many reasons. First, because a lot of people invading the forest to get the resource.
Mm-hmm.
They are, anyway, for many reasons. It's some knowledge they should keep there. Not because if they want to share, but they never wanted to share. It was stolen.
Oh, yeah.
So it's interesting. Like this rapé, it's from the indigenous. I have once used poison from frog to cure my allergies. Because the indigenous in the Amazon, they use this, and I don't know why. Well, I don't know why I accepted. It was a horrible experience. Horrible. Was the worst thing. I have the
But like, was it applied on the wound?
No. I am allergic to bees.
Mm-hmm.
And one white guy once was in my house with this thing. It was like a type of stick, one stick, and he put a fire on and burn the first layer of your skin. Like he did like 6 points, like 6 burns, and then he applied the poison, the frog poison. And the experience, like you kind of trance, I don't know how to say this in English as well. And I vomited. I was like, I could be,
oh my God,
I could be lost there forever. But I never had the allergy again.
it's cured forever.
But I don't think that's right. Like someone, I went to the forest and I get this from another white guy who lived with the indigenous, and then he learned there, and now he is selling this knowledge without any I don't know, worry about who will use how, where's you know. I disagree.
Yes.
Completely.
Yeah, I agree. I've never thought about it, but it's right. Yeah.
You can see many places like selling the indigenous knowledge without they don't have any royalties or anything, and
yes, and all of these mysticals, or like you said something nice now about this experience. No, I just don't believe it. Yeah. Terrible.
I always I have a lot of friends if they do like, I went to the forest and now I'm in a boat and I'm going to tribe and meet the people. And what? For what? Why are you doing that? I was always like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like you are they are nice. They don't have choice, I think, many times. You are there invading. It's like,
yeah.
Would you like if some people would visit your house just to see the way you live?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's always like
taking photos and
yeah, it's like, oh, such an amazing experience, and you go there and like just I don't know, like taking advantage of the situation they are living to be happier. It's just like when like people go to some African countries. Oh, I'm going there to, I don't know, to experience nature and to see the animals and to live. I know a girl I follow. She decided to drive around some countries. I don't know what country she went to, but I just saw the photos, interacting with children and everything, and like I don't know, it's really weird. I don't know how to explain it, because
Yeah, I think we should. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think you should do the opposite. Like, take some indigenous or people from exotic, look this, exotic countries or places to visit your house. Like, look how the whites live. Look what they eat. Wow, they have something, a TV. It's quite, can you
Yeah.
imagine the opposite?
Yeah, and it's like, oh, they are even with this simple life, they are happy. How beautiful! Like,
Que ódio.
it's,